are two kinds of John Wick action scenes. There are the scenes where John Wick is like in a room or some weird space that has a specific kind of weapon or thing that he has to use to fight a bunch of guys. And they're the ones where John Wick has pretty much whatever weapons he wants, and he has to take down like an army of guys, like enough guys to stop the Hulk. And he just has to, go and fight 50 of them in a row. I prefer the first one. That's my favorite kind of John Wick thing, is that room. He's in lots of knives from the third one. He just starts whipping knives at guys. Like, that's really cool. There are plenty of those scenes in this movie, and I think they work really well. There's one very early in the movie, and there's one close to about halfway through the movie. I think the thing that... Listen, this is a very good movie in terms of, like, it's solid. It's fun. It's cool. The crowd loved it. People were clapping and cheering and all kinds of stuff. I do think John Wick is approaching like a Fast and Furious character. I don't know why. This is the natural progression for these, because you look at like, Die Hard, even Rambo, but like John Wick, Rocky, and of course the Fast and Furious guys. Like, these characters start as very grounded, likable everyman, and then 3 movies in, they're like, doing backflips out of a moving car and shooting guys in midair. Not to say that that wasn't always what John Wick did, but other ones ended up doing that. Die Hard had a really big, one for 3 to 4. Things really went off the rails. And I mean, there's that one episode of The Office where Michael Scott explains that that's not the point of him. I'm not saying that I don't think that's the point of John Wick. What I am saying is, I think the first thing, that first thing, right? John Wick is in a room. There's some stuff. He's in a library. He's got books and things he can work with to kill guys. And he's so good at killing guys that he can manage to still kill them. But it's going to be kind of tricky because he's been punched a bunch and maybe shot once or twice. That is so much more interesting to me than the John Wick who runs around with a bulletproof suit and like holds his arm up to block bullets. And I think it's really impressive and it's awesome that Keanu does this. It's super cool. I just wish it was more of that first thing. Like, I do think we're going to look back at the John Wick movies, and this is the other thing with the John Wick movies. They do really blur together to me. I know, the dog fight, there's a bit with dogs in 3. There's the knives is in 3. I think the book is in 3, maybe 2. There's a catacomb scene in 2. The stories of John Wick movies are just way more complicated. Like, I think part of what we liked about the first John Wick movie was the simplicity of they killed his dog. It was his wife gave it to him because she died. She wanted him to have something. Now he's going to go get those kids. Like, that was what was so beautiful and brilliant about that first movie. It was just pure revenge, whatever. The economy of the crime syndicate and their little coins that they use to purchase drinks and rooms and assassinations. Like, the more we expand, on one hand, it's kind of fun because it's so insane, right? Like, there's got to be 15, maybe 20 people on the planet that aren't assassins at this point, because assassin stuff is happening everywhere in front of everybody. People are getting shot, getting hit by cars, and everybody's just like, oh God, more of these goddamn assassins. Get out of here. I'm going to be late for work, assassins. Like, it just doesn't seem like it takes place on Earth, which is fun. On the other side of things, there's points where I'm like, what are we doing here? What is this? Like, why are these guys trying to shoot him? And they're like, because you need to, if you want to get a shot at the high table, you have to kill this man, the maestro, and the maestro has an assistant. And it's just like, God damn it. Can someone kill his dog again? Can we get those guys again? Like, honestly, the Fast and Furious movies do this pretty well, where it's like, listen, we just need to get this guy, like we killed him last movie, and then his brother is here, and now he's trying to kill us, or something like that. And whenever it starts getting too complicated, I do think the lore starts to kind of bleed into the fun of it, because the fun of it is just the stunts, the wild stunts, and the, guys with goofy gimmicks. Donnie Yen is in this movie as another blind guy, and that's interesting. I don't know if that's weird little typecasting, but he is a blind assassin friend of John Wick named Kane, which I think is adorable. I hope he picked that name, and that was not one given to him. So, like, there's some bits in this where I'm watching this movie happen, and I'm looking at characters like him, or like another character I believe was just named The Tracker, and I'm just like, what is he doing now? On one hand, there's something very charming about the idea that this movie takes the movie completely seriously, except for Lawrence Fishburne, who seems to know this is all cartoon. Everybody else is like, this is life or death nonsense. Everybody's super serious. And Lawrence Fishburne and also Ian McShane to some extent are both just kind of clowning around and they're fun. But part of the charm of these is that they take themselves so seriously. On the other hand, I would love it if we were just dialed the plot back just a little bit. And like, there's one pretty big sequence where they're just like, you got to kill John Wick. Everybody go kill John Wick. Here he is. And then they go kill him. And like, that's pretty good. There's a bit with a mini boss who shows up maybe around halfway through the movie. Loved him. His whole gimmick was fantastic. Probably my favorite part of the movie. Like I said, there's a character in here named the Tracker. And I don't hate the Tracker. I have no problem with the Tracker. I do feel like with a movie with this much going on and this many characters, especially a bunch of new ones, like Bill Skarsgård is the Marquis, the bad guy. He's very busy doing a lot of stuff in this movie. It's almost like maybe we get rid of one guy who's on the periphery, and it's him. It's that guy for sure. Unless this is like, I don't think it's quite as transparent as this, but I would not be surprised if that guy's getting a show or something. I know they were working on a Continental show. I don't remember exactly what the deal with that was. I know like Mel Gibson was in it. Thank God we didn't have to, deal with that. But he was going to be in it and was going to be, I guess, the story of the Flatiron Building that is where all the spies live or whatever. But I don't think that's happening, or at least if it is, they didn't promote it during this movie at all. So I'm doubtful. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to do The Tracker spinoff where him and Ian McShane, for whatever reason, like, because they're both American. Well, Ian McShane is an American, but the Continental is in New York. I don't know where this guy's from. Doesn't matter. But it kind of feels like a Marvel kind of move where it's like, who is that character here? Oh, because they're getting a spinoff later. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I guess more what I like and what I think works with the John Wick formula is you have a couple of characters like Donnie Yen's guy, like Bill Skarsgård's guy, are kind of there throughout the whole thing. And then John Wick is meeting different people depending on where he goes. He goes to a new city in this city. This is the guy who's in charge of the city and he loves you. You're good friends. And then this is another guy who's in the war with him and you guys got to fight each other. That stuff's great. You meet that guy, some stuff happens, you leave, and then there's more guys. I do think that's where this movie really worked for me. That mini boss in Germany specifically, without giving anything away. And the Japan crew, starring apparently one of my favorite actors, not my favorite actor, but like he is in a lot of things that I was like, man, that guy's awesome. He's in so much cool stuff. And it is an actor named, and I knew I would mess this up, so I'm going to have it here, Hiroyuki Sanada. So you may remember him from being in either Bullet Train, Army of the Dead, the Mortal Kombat movie, Westworld, Endgame. He's the guy that fights Hawkeye. The Wolverine, he's the son in Wolverine, or a little movie not too many of us saw called Speed Racer, where he plays Mr. Musha, who is the dad who is bad. But like, man, that guy is he's so many cool things. And he has a really fun role here. And I do think a lot of those roles that I mentioned, like Bullet Train, Mortal Kombat, fun. And I like this guy. I like that corner of the movie a lot. I think all this, I mean, John Wick is good. John Wick is very, like, as a character, is very interesting. How little he frequently, like, he just doesn't say that much stuff. Characters around him talk a lot, and they'll stand in a room and go, John Wick, the coolest guy ever. You've got all the vendettas, and you've got to kill this guy and this guy and this guy, and you're the devil, and if you don't do all the murders, you'll get killed, but if you do, you're the worst guy, and you're gonna go straight to hell, John Wick. And then Keanu Reeves just goes, yeah, and then like that's the whole scene. Like, he's good at that. He's also like clearly very talented. The stuff that he does is very cool. I like the car stuff. Throw him in the Fast and Furious movies. Let's get Keanu in one of those. I don't see why not. I think overall, none of the John Wick movies for me have eclipsed the first John Wick movie in terms of like how much I enjoy them. I always have a really good time with them, but there's something about, just for me, the simplicity of that first one that I've always been kind of trying to get back to. I love a really, really nice, really simple action movie, especially when it's revenge. And when like it's because John Wick was like, it's a movie where he had to hide, duck underwater because he wouldn't get shot underwater because like after a couple of inches, the bullets don't really travel that fast anymore. And like he knew that, but he was like in so much danger that he had to do that. Whereas now it really is like a video game where like you have to shoot the guys a couple of times to like ding them up. And then when the neck is exposed, you shoot that. Like it's just, the guns don't matter anymore. Everybody's bulletproof. Everybody can survive anything. It's pretty bizarre. I liked it though. I did like it. I thought it was fun. And it was appropriately kind of silly. It had that globetrotty thing where you're like, oh, we're in this city now. I kind of wish we'd done a little bit more with that, but yeah, it is what it is. Like, a lot of the fight scenes were so well choreographed. My highlights, without spoiling anything, maybe the first 45 minutes of the movie, everything that goes on in that area, you'll know what I mean when you get there. Great. The guy you meet in the middle, that character, so much fun. And a bunch of the driving stuff near the end. I think that was all great. I did go into this movie having not seen John Wick 2 or John Wick 3 in a very long time, and kind of going like, I think he got fired at the end of the last one because he broke their special law. And there was not I kind of expected there would be a character who would say, like, you know what happened to John Wick? He did the thing, and now we are using all the fancy Italian words to say that he must be killed. But they didn't do any of that, really. They had a little bit of that. Bill Skarsgård kind of went over the crime that Ian McShane committed. But for me, I was just really having a hard time remembering exactly what John Wick did movie to movie. And I guess it's because the first one, it was like, oh, it's super simple. I don't need to know what he did. He shot the kid from Game of Thrones. And then 3 movies later, he's killed so many people, broken so many rules. These people have turned out to be bad guys trying to kill him. Wasn't like Willem Dafoe in one of these? I think he was in the second one. Yeah, right? No. Yeah. Was Mary Elizabeth Winstead in these? I know Ruby Rose was in them. The second one. I could have sworn Willem Dafoe was in one. That's the thing. I really like them. They kind of come and go immediately. That being said, I do think the one thing from the middle of this movie will be the thing that I remember for the longest time. No, Willem Dafoe was it? Peter Serafinowicz. Oh yeah, he used to be in these. Wait, Dafoe, John Wick. Oh, he's in the first one. Oh, would you look at that? Yeah, like, it's been so long, I completely forgot he was in this. That's not to say, it's not a bad thing. Necessarily, it's just like so much stuff has happened over the course of this movie and all of these movies that I cannot help but be a little bit confused. So I would say, here's what I recommend. If you've gotten this far, you've listened to, not like too much, but watch it. You're going to like it. You're going to have a good time. If you like the other ones, you'll like this one. I would say definitely read the Wikipedia summary of the third one before you go into this one. And, like, pace yourself in terms of like eating popcorn, drinking. It's a long-ish movie. I'd have to check, but I would guess it's at least 2.5 hours, perhaps more. It does feel like movies just do that now. It's kind of like every board game has to come in a humongous box, even if it doesn't need a huge box, because we think that is what a $30 board game needs to be in a big box, even if it doesn't. And it's the same way where, like, because of our expectations with, like, prestigious 3-hour-long movies, everybody wants to make a movie that's 3 hours long these days. 2 hours, 49 minutes, my goodness. But honestly, it flies by pretty well until the end, where it slows down in a way that I respect and I appreciate it. But it would be hard to keep that completely working for 2.5 hours plus. Like, that's just a big ask. Even Avengers, there's like a lot of points where they all just sit down and go, all right, what are we doing here? Who are these guys? Why are we doing Thanos? Like, they just talk a lot. There's a fair amount of talking in this. And I do think, like, I don't know, it's cool. These movies are cool. I like them. Again, overall, very, very good. I would say a solid 7.5, 8, maybe. In terms of just, like, they're incredibly proficient, just like rock solid, cool, well done action movies. I would say the 2 points for me that come off when everybody can block a bullet by picking up their jacket, it makes it a little less interesting or a little less tense for me. Like John Wick, and I realize this has happened in the past too, gets hit by so many cars, just in general. Not like a lot. I mean, he does get hit quite a few times in this movie, but like that is just something that, like, I don't care how bulletproof that vest is. That's a car, but whatever. It's fine. It's good. Movie's good. I'm not going to talk myself out of it. You're going to have a good time with this movie. It's a good movie. So this has been way too long of a review about John Wick.